Welcome to Hockey Night in New York, where Islanders hockey is always top shelf. Whether you got your start as a Dynasty veteran, a Milbury survivor, or you were born into the Church of Trotz, Hockey Night in New York is your home for all things Isles. Now, here are your eclectic hosts, Sean Cuthbert and Christian Arnold.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Hockey Night in New York. Welcome to the program, everyone. It is Sunday, March 7, 2021. Coming at you live from the Hockey Night New York studios on Long Island. Another big show coming up for you tonight. Dan Rosen of NHL.com will be joining us to talk Islanders and all things around the NHL. My name is Sean Cuthbert. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Christian Arnold. Christian, how are you?
I'm doing well. How could I be bad? It's Hockey Day in America.
It's Hockey
and
Day in
right.
America, pal.
I need to start off the show.
That's right.
Apologizing. You were right.
Oh, you don't owe me an apology, but I appreciate that. That's really nice of you.
You were right.
I was.
Even if you got the sponsor
You know what?
wrong.
See, this goes back to that growth we were talking about, Christian. See, you're admitting when you're wrong. You're apologizing. You're stepping up as a man here.
Never not admitted when I was wrong.
I don't know about that, but the train rolls on. And let's get into it. I want to remind everybody we are sponsored by Blue Line Deli and Bagels, located at 719 West Jericho Turnpike in Huntington. Head on over for great food, great people, and great service. I was there yesterday.
Very jealous.
Love that place.
Very
Love
jealous.
that place. I had the Jimmy B.
Ooh.
Fantastic. It's number one on the menu. Oh, yeah.
Was the Jimmy B the sandwich that you ate as part of our challenge to get the Hockey Night in New York?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It looked like a delicious sandwich.
Roast beef. Yeah. Yeah,
all right, Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, great stuff. So check out BlueLineDeli.com to check out the menu.
Yeah.
Great stuff over there. We're also sponsored by Ty Technology, a voice-over IP company providing phone services for businesses across the country. If you're tired of dealing with long hold times and the impersonal service of companies like Spectrum, Optima, and Verizon, give Ty Technology a call at 516-856-7800, and they will hook you up with 3 free months of service. You cannot beat that. So, Christian, the Islanders played the bottom of the division this week. And once again, our predictions were wrong, but I am happy to say so. I went for 7 of 8. They went 8 of 8, pal.
Yeah.
They swept it. Find themselves in a 5-game winning streak, first of the season, and they got sole possession of first place. What do you say, CA?
Well, so we were talking about this before the show.
We were.
And it was the fact that I said, when Joe Yerdon was on last week, I was like, all right, maybe he's being a little hyperbolic or a little dramatic for effect, to kind of hype up how bad Buffalo really is. And boy,
Oh, Lord.
3 games after watching the Buffalo Sabres, I mean, they are as bad as advertised. And I mean, that worked out great for the Islanders because, they picked up the points that they needed to and they got the wins that they needed to. This is a Buffalo Sabres team that the Islanders should heavy-handedly beat, and they did in all 3 of those games, even if it was a little closer today than the other 2 games, especially considering what the score was. Today's game, it's Sunday when we're recording this, when we're broadcasting live. Today's game was a much closer game than that 5-2 score kind of lets on, especially in that third period where you actually saw a little bit of fight out of the Buffalo Sabres, which was, I guess if you're a Sabres fan, that must have been nice to see. Yeah. It must have been nice to see a little bit. Otherwise, I mean, the Islanders played 3 very good games of hockey. Ilya Sorokin had a couple good starts during this stretch. And the Islanders are in sole possession of first place, 4 points ahead of the Washington Capitals, who are playing right now as we speak.
Who are they playing?
I believe they're playing the Philadelphia Flyers.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a big game. The Islanders will stay ahead of them regardless. They are 4 points, but it'll be a different margin, whether it's 4 points or whether that's 2 points at the end of the night. But the Islanders own sole possession of first place, which is not something I think anyone outside of maybe Islanders country would have imagined or kind of bought into. It's certainly,
which is par for the course around the league. That's pretty much how it goes.
But you look at the roster. I think it was a fair assessment of what the Islanders were coming into this year with. So,
sure, I'll give you that. But look, the main key to take away from this week is the Islanders beat teams that they were supposed to beat. Obviously, the Sabres 3 times, but also the Jersey Devils.
Yes.
On Tuesday, look, they're at the bottom of the standings, like I said, and that's what good teams do. They beat the teams that they're supposed to. And these are points now that they're banking that are going to come up huge later on in the season. And, you look at the standings and you see that the Islanders are at the top, and you see those games played, and they've played pretty much more games than anybody else. I think they're 4 up on Boston, so they still have 8 points they can make up. So, you see for first place is nice, but, some of these teams are going to have an opportunity to catch up. But the bottom line is the Islanders are winning these games that they're playing ahead of them, and those other teams still got to win those games to catch up.
Oh, 100%. And but again, it goes back to what Barry Trotz has kind of been preaching all along, even during that stretch of games where the Islanders weren't winning. It was, you go out there and you just want to come away with as many points as you can. And as long as you're picking up points, especially with the way things are, I mean, you're getting the job done for the most part. The Islanders, like I said, they got the wins that they should have gotten this week. New Jersey, Buffalo, teams that are in the bottom of the division.
Yeah.
Bottom of the league, really. And
right.
I mean, they got the job done, especially now with a much tougher stretch of games coming up. Obviously, you have Boston on Tuesday. Then you see New Jersey 3 times. But again, New Jersey is at the bottom of the league, but it's certainly none of these teams should be taken advantage or for granted, I should say. Or none of these games should be taken for granted. It's the same thing I said to you last week when we had this conversation when you said they would take 7 of 8 from Buffalo, and I said don't make sure you don't count your chickens too early.
Right. Well, look, they didn't play down to their competition, which teams can sometimes be guilty of. We've seen the Islanders do in the past, but they're focused. They're looking at these teams. They know what they have to do. They've become very familiar with the Buffalo Sabres, playing them so often lately.
Yes.
And they really didn't take their foot off the gas. I mean, look, maybe here and there was a lax play here, a giveaway there that led to a goal or what have you. But for the most part, they took care of business.
Yeah.
And, I mean, look, they beat them, 15-6 over the course of 3 games. That's pretty good. So you got to like that. And look, they're going to, kind of get another taste of a team who they're going to be vying for positioning here against the Boston Bruins on Tuesday. Yeah. Then it's back to 3 in a row against New Jersey. But you look later down the calendar, and that's when it really starts to get interesting. After those 3 games against Jersey, all of a sudden you're going to see your Capitals in there. You're going to see your Flyers in there. They're going to have the Penguins again. So those are going to be some hotly contested games where they get out of this.
Those are playoff games. I mean,
absolutely.
They've been talking about how these games have kind of been like playoff games because of the series that they've played. So many games in a short amount of time, especially against Buffalo, where you're playing 3 games in 4 nights or 4 days, I should say, essentially. And then you get into these really, really tough matchups with playoff teams that are going to be there that are battling for playoff positioning or playoff spots in the case of the Pittsburgh Penguins or some of those those bubble teams around the 4, 5, 6 at range. And things are always so tight. So those are going to be important games, which is what makes these games just as important, almost if not more important, because these are points that you should almost be guaranteed with the way things are going in Buffalo, with the way things are going in New Jersey. And, the Islanders want to stay atop the division. Right.
And it's interesting where earlier you said before how, Buffalo and perhaps New Jersey are 2 of the worst teams.
And as someone pointed out, Jersey just shut out Boston. So, I mean,
how about that?
It's not something that should be taken lightly.
No.
Or they're not a team that should be taken lightly.
I keep saying that's hockey, buddy. That's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes the contenders, are taken out by the little people. It happens sometimes. That's the way it goes. The Islander fans know that when they would, be well out of the playoffs by November.
On a Martin Luther King Day matinee game.
It just happens sometimes. Yeah. But getting to what I was just starting to say, talking about a team being the worst in the league or the best in the league or whatever the case may be, it's really weird because it's hard to math that out because we're really dealing with 4 separate leagues this year.
That's right.
Because they're not playing one another. So, you can say Buffalo's the worst team in the league, but they're only playing 7 other teams.
Buffalo is probably the worst team in
Ottawa
any of these
might
divisions.
give them a run for their money. You don't know that.
That's true.
Detroit could give them a run for their money. Detroit's not very good either. But the point is, even on the opposite side of that, right? Like, whether you look at Toronto, the Islanders, whomever's at the top of their respective divisions, it's hard to say who's the best team in the league, who has the best shot at, going to the Cup or what have you, because they're just playing this very confined amount of teams.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
And, we don't know how Toronto would fare against Vegas. We don't know how the Islanders would fare against St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to really make those distinctions. So I hesitate to say anybody's the best at this, the worst at that. I just look at it in division.
You just said that.
Well, I'm saying in division, Christian. I would prefer to look at it that way. But I think when it comes to playoff time, it's going to make all that stuff all the more fun and exciting because there's going to be so much unknown. There's going to be no season series to look back at to once you get past your initial division, those rounds, then it's kind of just like rolling the dice and seeing what's going to happen. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, it's going to be a blast. It certainly is. But I think you look back at this week and the way the Islanders played, there's a lot of good things to take away from it. Obviously, Sunday's game, today's game, there was some pushback from the Buffalo Sabres. There was a little bit of lackadaisicalness out of the Islanders here and there. But overall, some very good wins for the Islanders. They've begin to dominate the second period in these games of late, too. Obviously, 4 goals against Buffalo on Saturday, and then another 3 goals against Buffalo this afternoon in the second period.
Yeah.
You've seen the fourth line. They've really come alive in the last week or so.
Yeah.
And for all that talk of, is this the end of the fourth line? Is this, that or this or that?
Right.
I mean, it's almost as if they heard the criticism, they internalized the criticism, and they put it out.
So you're saying they listen to the show, too?
Well, it'd be great.
Just like JG?
Did. Oh, yeah, exactly. Just like JG. Imagine if we had that much kind of pull.
Probably no, we don't.
And
we don't.
I know we don't.
They don't even know we exist.
I know we don't. I'm just saying.
Still, though,
Imagine,
it would be cool. Maybe one day, Christian.
No, but the point is they certainly almost seem to respond to that criticism, and they've become a line that really does a lot of good things, not only obviously offensively, which they've done the last couple games. Cal Clutterbuck has had a couple goals and points over the last few games against Buffalo. Matt Martin has had a few points, and he's had a goal over the last few games. And obviously Casey Cizikas has had his share of luck offensively as well, which is huge because once again, when you have all 4 lines rolling for the New York Islanders, you're not relying on the first line or even just the first and the second line to produce your points. I mean, that's a successful look for the Islanders, and that's a great look for the Islanders, who are, again, just playing very good Barry Trotz hockey right now.
Yeah, no, they're looking like that team that rattled off, points in 17 straight games or whatever it was last year, where they're not doing much wrong out there. And they're getting contributions up and down the lineup now. That's been a theme of the show, talking about how the first line was carrying the team and how guys need to pick it up. We're going to focus a little more on that stuff later on in the show, but you're starting to see the scoring spread out, which is great.
Yes.
So a lot of positivity here in Islander country. Hard not to when you win 4 straight for the week.
That's right.
So all good stuff. Hope everybody's having a good time out there. But with that, Christian, we got a break. Dan Rosen, NHL.com, is going to be joining us. So, folks, thank you for tuning in to twitch.tv/HockeyNightNY. We will be right back.
Customer service is the backbone of any great business, and reliable telecommunication is essential to keeping your client base happy. Introducing Ty Technology, a low-cost, flexible internet phone service founded on the idea that every customer deserves exceptional service while providing simple setup and management and easy integration to clients across the country. Ty Technology will not only create a custom solution tailored to your specific needs, but will partner with you to provide a competitive edge to you and your clients. And if you need support, you won't be routed to an automated call center in another country. You'll get a live representative that had a personal hand in building your account. So Islander fans, if your business is looking for a change from companies like Spectrum, Verizon, or Optimum, Ty Technology is offering 3 free months of service for any of its affordable packages. Just call 516-856-7800. That's 516-856-7800. Or visit them on the web at tytechnology.com. That's Ty, T-I-E technology.com. Ty Technology, the right choice for your internet phone service.
The only thing better than a great Long Island deli is a great Long Island deli run by die-hard Islander fans. Blue Line Deli and Bagels, located at 719 West Jericho Turnpike in Huntington, will make any Islander fan feel right at home with its familiar blue and orange theme and Isles decor. Blue Line Deli and Bagels proudly serves Bagel Boss bagels, along with breakfast favorites, hockey-themed heroes, quesadillas, salads, fresh-made smoothies, and much more. So stop on in for delicious food, a clean atmosphere, and a happy staff ready to greet you with friendly service no matter what team you support. Want to place an order for pickup? Call 631-944-3222 or visit BlueLineDeli.com to check out the menu and order online. Blue Line Deli and Bagels, where the great selections will have you saying, yes, yes, yes.
Did you have a nice break? Well, it's time to get back on the couch for more Islanders therapy with Seany and C. Arnold on Hockey Night in New York.
Welcome back to the show. This is Hockey Night in New York. Christian Arnold and Sean Cuthbert with you, as always, live on twitch.tv/HockeyNightNY. And it is that time of the show to bring on the line. Our guest with us tonight is Dan Rosen, on the line, brought to you by our friends at Tide Technology. And Dan, always good to chat with you. I did not, unfortunately, bring any hot dogs smothered in ketchup for the occasion.
Man. Thank God. Woo.
It's actually funny. Brian Compton mentioned he missed the hot dogs in the press box. It's been such a weird season, and my first thought was it needs ketchup.
I do too. I missed them in the press box too. They actually had them at the press box at the Garden the last couple of games I covered there. Once they started allowing fans in the building, they put some food in the press box. It was hot dogs and pretzels.
There you go, Dan.
You're not going to complain when you get it. You know?
Got to have some ketchup on it for me, my friend.
Oh, man.
If you say so.
Well, look, ketchup on a hot dog is one thing. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
All right.
It's the entire bottle of ketchup that he throws on the hot dog. That's a little bit excessive. You know, it looks like the hot dog is just bleeding. I mean, it's weird. You know,
But anyway, sounds like Christian.
In fairness, though, those hot dogs from the Nassau Coliseum have most likely been there since pre-renovation of the Nassau Coliseum. So you do have to mask the taste of whatever chemicals you're eating. But hot dogs aside, Dan, it's always great to chat hockey with you, and obviously a lot going on in the National Hockey League. I was gonna have you start by asking you about your Super 16, but obviously with the Tom Wilson news, it's kind of hard to ignore that. What's been going on with him? Obviously, what's been your reaction to the suspension and the hit and everything that's gone on with the Washington Capitals and Tom Wilson over the last couple days?
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't like the hit. He comes in high. It's not like Raymond Carlos that low.
Right.
He is going down a little bit, but he comes in high. And Tom Wilson has got a history here. I mean, dare we say he's got a reputation, you know? So when I saw the suspension, I wasn't surprised. I mean, there was an injury on the play. It was a high hit to the head. It made sense to me, the 7 games, especially in a 56-game season. I mean, you're talking about an eighth of the season right there. That's a big suspension. That's a 10-game suspension in an 82-game season, and that's significant. So wasn't surprised at all when I saw it. I don't want to say – I guess I was surprised a little bit about the hit because I'm ready for Tom Wilson to stop making these hits. You know,
that'd be great.
He's such a talented, important power forward. There's no reason for him to make that hit. You know that come in hard. That's fine, but come in with a body check. That's going to dislodge the puck, not to the head. But anyway, not surprised at all by the 7 games.
So, Dan, you say you're not surprised. Do you think it was an appropriate number, or would you have went somewhere else with it, given his history?
I think it's an appropriate number. I think if you look at the 56-game season versus an 82-game season, a 7-game suspension is an eighth of the season. So you're looking at what is the equivalent of about a 10-game suspension, maybe 11, whatever you want to go with. But and that would be a significant suspension. That would be a huge suspension in an 82-game season. So I thought 7 games in this type of season, and especially we're already almost halfway through it. We're approaching that point. To be gone for the next 7 games is crucial, and he is such an important player for that team. And that team is right in the middle of this race in the East Division that is a good race. It really is. I mean, with the Rangers right now, I know that they're slowly starting to play their way back into it. Maybe not so much tonight as we talked, but they're slowly starting to play their way back into it. It's become a 6-team race, which is kind of what we thought it would be with Buffalo and New Jersey on the outside.
Sure. Now, it's just a last follow-up on the suspension. Now, is that something that would be typical because it's a reduced season? They take in proportion or percentage of a season as opposed to just the number of games. Like they don't say, oh, that's a 7-game suspension hit. That's a 15% of the season type of hit.
You know what? I mean, I'm not in the Department of Player Safety, so I don't know exactly how they look at it in those terms. But I'm just going off of what I know of, like in the playoffs. So you have a 7-game series,
right?
And if a guy has a hit, they usually look at one playoff game is worth more than what would be maybe a 3 or 4 game suspension in the regular season is the equivalent of a 1 game suspension in the playoffs.
Gotcha.
So I'm just kind of prorating it a little bit there and saying to myself, well, it's a shorter season, 7 games. This is what it is, an eighth of the season. I would imagine it would be a little bit longer if we were in a full season.
Understood.
Talking with Dan Rosen here on the line, presented by our friends over at Ty Technology. And Dan, you mentioned the New York Rangers. Obviously, a lot of chatter now going on with them involved with Jack Eichel, and obviously we just saw Jack Eichel for 3 games here on the island with the Buffalo Sabres in town, and the Islanders coming away with 3 wins against them. I mean, talk about a situation that has got to be as dysfunctional as any. Speaking to an audience that is mostly Islander fans. I mean, we've kind of seen this before here on Long Island, but it's certainly a different beast to be on the outside looking in. In your mind, what is going through Jack Eichel's mind, and how long before we start to see some moves from Buffalo where they start to move some pieces and potentially people being fired and this situation going down that's been happening there?
Well, here's the thing. I'll go back to the end of last season with Jack Eichel and in the frustration that he showed. This losing is really, it's ugly. It's not fun, obviously, and we got to turn this around. I mean, he clearly showed frustration as a leader, okay? You come into this season, he's injured at the start of the year, so that hurts right there. Then they have a battle with COVID that really knocked them to the ground a little bit, and with their coach included. He still is, Eichel is still trying to work his way back from an injury. They can't seem to get any traction, and it's just snowballing. It's just a bad snowball effect for the Buffalo Sabres, and we've seen it before. I mean, that's what happens to teams like this, is that when they're not prepared to handle any bit of success, what you see is them if they get a taste of it, which they really haven't had this year, but if they get a little taste of it, they fall off. We've seen it from Buffalo. So I think Jack Eichel is very frustrated. Kevin Adams came out the other day and said Jack Eichel has not asked for a trade. They're in regular communication. I believe that. I don't see why Kevin Adams would say anything different. If Jack has asked for a trade, I think we would have heard about it by now. And he might have even come out and publicly talked about that fact. But what we haven't heard anything like, so he has not asked for a trade. He's involved and he wants to win there. I know he's invested. I know he wants to win there, but he's got to play better. Like that. See, that's the whole long-winded answer right there is he's part of it. He's got to be better. He's got to be better. Skinner's got to be better. Reinhardt's got to be better. Dahlin's got to be better. If you look up and down that lineup, there's talent. There really is. But they just don't put it together. And could it be the coach? Look, I think Ralph Kruger is a heck of a leader. I think he's a heck of a guy. I think he's had an amazing career, cultural. I mean, what a worldly personality he has. But is he a good NHL coach? I don't know. We have to see. We haven't seen enough. We haven't seen enough for me to say, yeah. You know what, Ralph Kruger's a good NHL coach, and he's the right guy for the job. But he's going to get a chance here to turn this around, and I think he deserves that chance this season with everything that's gone on for them. But he needs Eichel to be better. He needs Skinner to be better. Reinhardt. I mean, all of these guys have to be better than they've been. And you can throw it on the coach, and you can throw it on the GM. I think since Jack's been there, they're on their second GM and their third coach. So, I mean, at some point you got to throw it on the players.
Talking with Dan Rosen from NHL.com. And Dan, obviously we were talking about the East Division here. It's so tight aside from New Jersey and Buffalo, but you mentioned the Rangers kind of getting their way back into it. Obviously the Islanders atop the division, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Boston, they're all, Washington, all in the mix here. I mean, what has been the most surprising thing for you so far in this East Division with how tight everything has been and where these teams are at the moment?
The surprising part was the Devils at the start, but they've kind of come back to earth. I'm not, to be honest, I wish I had a better answer for you, but I'm not really surprised by any of it, to be honest with you.
That's fair.
I pegged it with the 4 teams that are, if it finished today, that would be in the playoffs. I mean, the Islanders, the Caps, the Bruins, and the Flyers. I guess the surprise to me is the Flyers haven't been as good as I thought they would be, and Carter Hart's kind of struggled a little bit this season. That's a bit surprising to me. The surprise to me was how much of a struggle it was for the Rangers and Mika Zibanejad, who does have a goal in this game tonight against the Penguins, but how big of a struggle that was. I also didn't see Tony DeAngelo leaving the way he did, and Artemi Panarin taking a leave of absence. So those are surprising elements as well. But those things happen through the course of a season. But no, I mean, look, I thought the Islanders would be exactly what they are. I thought the Capitals would be good because I think Peter Laviolette gives his team a boost. He gives them a bump wherever he goes early in the tenure there. That team is successful. I thought the Flyers would be better, but they're right, in the mix. And the Bruins, to me, I mean, with their young D and, trying to figure it out along the way there, they've been solid, had some ups and downs, but overall quite solid. And I thought Pittsburgh would be right on the outside. They are. And I thought the Rangers would be 6, Buffalo 7 and 8 with New Jersey.
Par for the course.
Where it is. Yeah.
I mean, the biggest surprise just from that answer is that there's someone other than Brian Compton and NHL.com that apparently is giving the Islanders respect there.
Oh, no. Come on.
Wow.
Look, they've earned it. There's no question about it. This team, when they play their style and they play their Islander hockey,
right,
as it's very well known, they're so hard to beat. And it's funny to me. I mean, to step on a little soapbox here, right? Like, I laugh when people say, like, well, they play boring games and all that. Since when is winning boring? Like if you're an Islander fan, you don't find this boring.
No.
They're not run and gun. They're not scoring. You're not playing 6-5 games. They get a 2-0 lead. Forget about it. Lock it down. I mean, it's done. Like, and maybe it's not like the most exciting brand of hockey if you're just an outsider watching it, not an Islander fan.
Sure.
But if you're an Islander fan, you better be enjoying the heck out of this because you got a great coach, you got a deep team, you got quality goaltending, you got obviously a general manager who absolutely knows what he's doing. He's a Hall of Fame general manager. You got owners who are invested, a new building on the way. There's a lot to be excited about for the New York Islanders.
No question about it, and I'll take the wins anyway. You can get them. That's fine by me.
Any way you can get them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I just want to point out that was not a jab at you, Dan. More or less, the segment of the Islander fan base that thinks the national media hates them and for whatever reason has tried to deride them.
All right.
Look, I don't know where all that comes from because I if you asked anybody in the national media right now, what's the one thing to you that stands out about the Islanders? It's the fact that they win. I think that's what people would say, and they may not
That's
like
a nice ring to
how
it.
they do. They may not like how they win, but it doesn't matter if you win, and that's all that. Like, who cares if a guy in Toronto isn't very happy about the Islanders playing because they're not playing very exciting hockey.
Yeah.
Who cares? Exciting hockey is winning hockey to me.
Dan, I'm with you all the way there. And now let's take it to your Super 16. Do you have I don't know, maybe a special criteria that goes into it when you're deciding where everybody ranks? And for this special season that we have this year where it's all in division, you don't have everybody playing everybody, you're just playing the same 7, maybe 6 teams depending on what division you're in. Does that come into play at all when you start to look at how you want to rank these teams?
Well, the way I look at it is this is kind of how I weigh it. I look at the 2 teams that I'm going, all right, 1, who's 2, right? Right behind them, how would those 2 teams fare in a 7-game series? And so the team that I have ahead is a team I think at the present time would win a 7-game series against the other, Okay. So if I'm looking at, Tampa 1, Toronto 2, I'm saying to myself, Tampa's going to beat everybody in a 7-game series. Toronto will beat everybody but Tampa in a 7-game series at this point, and it just kind of filters down that way. But I do take into account head to head, so if I really like Colorado and maybe I really like Colorado more than I like Vegas, but Vegas beats them 2 out of 3, I think I got to give the nudge to Vegas, I mean, just the way it goes, especially with this type of season. But when everybody's not playing everybody, it makes it a little bit more challenging. Yeah. But I kind of just look at it and say, well, you got to look at some stats. Goal differential is a big stat for me. Mm-hmm. Like if you're playing a lot of tight games and you're winning them, that's great. But if you're got a lot of wins and your goal differential is like the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is I mean, I don't even know what it is at this point, plus 35
a lot to a
or
little.
something like that. Like that makes a huge difference. It's how you're beating teams too. I think you have to give a lot of credit to teams that can win tight games, come back in games, and all that stuff. But you got to give more credit to the teams that just blow everybody out.
Sure.
So, and I really, for example, last week I really liked Edmonton. I did. I mean, they were playing really well.
Mm-hmm.
Then they played 3 against Toronto, and they scored 1 goal. And to me, that was a comeback to earth. Okay, this is what they really are,
Yeah.
and this is how good Toronto is. But maybe Edmonton, I was overranking them a little bit, So you have to kind of take it all into account. But definitely, the one key factor for me is head-to-head, who would win a 7-game series.
All right.
This is On the Line, presented by our friends over at Tide Technology. On the line with us is Dan Rosen from NHL.com. And Dan, obviously, we've been talking about the Islanders a little bit here, and a big couple games against the Buffalo Sabres. 3 important wins for the Islanders at the same score, 5-2, 3 different times. When you look at the way the Islanders have played as of late, what has been the biggest thing to you that has made them successful? Obviously, people will look at that and go, "Oh, they're playing Buffalo." I mean, Buffalo is terrible, so most teams could probably beat the Sabres. But when you look at those games, even against New Jersey, what do you take away from that as the biggest upside for the Islanders, especially going into a tougher stretch of games after we get through this week with Boston, a couple games with New Jersey, and then a big portion of the schedule is against some of those playoff teams?
The thing with the Islanders for me, and it doesn't change, it's kind of been my thought about them for a while now with Barry Trotz as the coach, and it happens this season too. It's not all the time. There's definitely a little bit of ebb and flow, but for the most part, they play the same way, right? And the type of game you're going to get against the Islanders. And if you give up the first goal, good luck, if you're the opponent. I mean, it's very hard. If you score the first goal, that puts the Islanders in a position where I don't think they're as good, which is chasing a game, but they can come back. They can score. They have enough offense. There's no doubt about that. But the takeaway for me for the Islanders consistently is their consistency. It really is. It's that they very rarely deviate from the way they play, which is why you see the success that they have, and earlier this season, I thought that they deviated a little bit and they were losing games and chasing games and whatnot. And Barry Trotz and everybody got them back on track. And, when they're playing their way, they're giving up 24 shots a game. Their goaltending is solid. They're not allowing much in front of the net. They take care of that area very well. They're fast in transition. They have a good first pass. They move the puck up through the neutral zone and they push you on your heels a little bit. And it's not that they necessarily do it with great, superstar talent, but they just do it with consistent roll it over each time. Every line knows what their job is, and everybody plays the same way.
For sure. And do you see any, evolution or growth in this Islander team, maybe from last year? I mean, look, they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. You have some youth that are coming up now, and Noah Dobson, Oliver Wahlstrom, they're starting to look good. Even Michael Del Cole, to a lesser degree, has kind of solidified his spot there in the third line next to Pajot. Do you see any sort of growth out of this team where maybe they can be more of a threat in the later rounds of the playoffs if they happen to get that far? Or are they more kind of the same team you're looking at last year? I mean, do you see any sort of growth out of these guys?
Well, I mean, look, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, so they were pretty good, and they ran into a really good team. So there is that one aspect of it. I like the guys you brought up. I like Dobson. I really like Wahlstrom. I see he's coming around. You're seeing offense out of him right now, and that's key. I think that they, like I said, they continuously play the same way, but you need guys who are going to step out and maybe get you the goal that you're not, you didn't expect, or things along those lines. And, get you that fourth goal in a game or the third goal in a game for the Islanders is really all they usually need. So I don't know about necessarily about growth per se. I just think, again, I see a same type of team that's dangerous and can in a 7-game series frustrate and beat any team in the league. In my opinion, they can do that. The question remains is if they go up against a team like, they're not going to they wouldn't see a Tampa Bay until at the very earliest the Final Four.
Right.
So, but, if they go up a team like that, if they get that far and they go up a team like that, do they have enough offense to win that series, because you can't just win that series with defense, and you can't just win that series with goaltending and banking on scoring the first goal and playing your style of hockey. That's a different type of team. And I don't know that the Islanders can push it to that next level, but I also don't know that they necessarily will have to, because you see how the chips fall in the playoffs. They can win a 7-game series against any team in the East Division. That I can tell you. And then you want to see what happens from there.
Absolutely.
Dan Rosen from NHL.com. You can follow him on Twitter at DRosenNHL. Dan, we always appreciate the time, and great chatting with you, and great getting to see you. It's been a while, my friend. And,
yeah, definitely.
Next time you're at Madison Square Garden, you're having a hot dog, put a little ketchup on for me.
You know what? Maybe a little dab. Maybe a little dab. But I'm not pulling a bottle out of my backpack and, slathering it all over the bun and the dog. And anyway, you do you.
I'm converting people one hot dog at a time. That's it. That's my goal. But
We'll
Dan,
see about that.
Thank you so much for the time tonight. We really do appreciate it.
Dan, awesome
All right.
stuff. Thanks you so
guys.
much.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Yeah. Good chatting, guys. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Dan Rosen from NHL.com. Great stuff as always.
Oh, yeah.
And always definitely check out his Super 16, which comes out every Thursday on NHL.com.
Yes. And can we take a second to talk about this hot dog situation? What's going on? I see Brian Compton busting your chops about it up on social media. What's going on? I mean, you just drown all your food in ketchup, or is it just the hot dogs? What's going on?
It's just a hot dog.
And only ketchup, no mustard.
No mustard. Only ketchup. And again, like I said before, it's mainly due to the fact that I'm 95% sure that those hot dogs have been sitting in the Coliseum freezer pre-renovation.
I see.
And, they're tough to eat, but in the middle of a game and you don't really want to spend money on the media meal, it's a great substitute when it's free. So
wow.
Who am I to turn away free stuff?
So a lot goes into that. Very interesting.
Yeah, there's a backstory to it.
Now, are you just a no mustard guy across the board, or is that just hot dogs?
Mustard is fine.
Okay.
Like I don't have like an issue, but I also think that now that everyone's so on my case about the fact that I just put ketchup on these hot dogs, makes me just want to do it more now. Now I just want to put more ketchup on and just fight the power.
You're a rebel.
I really am.
Okay.
And it's just, I mean, does it surprise you by any stretch of the imagination? This is very my
I haven't thought about it that much. But
to be the contrarian.
Yeah, that sounds like you. But brown or yellow on the mustard?
A brown mustard.
Okay, you win.
Yeah,
okay, very good. All right, so let's bring it back to the hockey talk.
By the way,
sure.
I do want to go back to one thing I asked Dan,
okay.
and the little comment about the national media. I saw someone post this in the chat before about Ryan Whitney, and I don't know if you saw this on the Instagrams or the on Twitter.
No.
He had tweeted out and he had taken a little shot at Islander fans. I forget what the exact tweet was, and I'm going to try and bring it up now that I mention it. Instead of having it prepared, I was just going to go off the cuff.
Well, that's also par for the course for you, so that's fine.
Well, I mean,
Hey, welcome to another segment of Christian searching through his laptop for his information. Yeah, you got it there?
Oh, so it was, I guess it was some sort of comment towards Blackhawk fans. And the tweet read, if you didn't read it, Blackhawk fans, ... I'm sorry, I don't want to battle with you. You aren't like scumbag Islander fans. I was wrong about your club. There's a first time for everything. Let's go Hawks. I am a Chicago guy. You're still a turtle, blah, blah, blah.
My goodness.
I don't understand what some of the references, but I just wanted to point out, because I saw it, and I saw it got a lot of attention, obviously, from Islander fans, and
of course,
who took the bait, and
right,
and that's the thing. I just want to point out that if you ever listen to sports talk radio or podcasts or any of what these part of the shtick is, and we're guilty of it too at times, is kind of just playing into the almost WWE-like villain role in certain aspects. And
yes, to rile people up.
It's shtick, and it riles people up, and it gets interaction, it gets clicks, it gets tweets, and people, will tune into their podcast, which because they do a very good job.
We've said it on the show before. There's a lot of fire and passion in this fan base. So once there's some words going against it, they're ready to line up and defend themselves. And hey, more power to them. I get it. I
just wanted to say, don't take the bait. Like it's shtick.
Don't feed the trolls.
Don't get so excited about it, because you're doing exactly what they want you to do, whether it's sports talk radio or whether it's podcasts or whatever. Some of the stuff is just meant to get a reaction.
Well, that was another segment of Fan Lessons with Christian Arnold.
I'm just saying,
thanks for tuning in.
For their own emotional well-being, don't Don't let yourself get worked up into
got
it.
you. Okay.
It's like the other week when I was concerned about you and you were very upset after a little tough
Right.
week
I'm
for the
pretty sure you
Islanders.
fabricated that whole story, but that's fine. Go with it. That's your shtick. You got a shtick too. So it makes sense.
I don't have a shtick. This is all genuine right
Yeah.
here. There's no shtick.
No,
I was
absolutely.
concerned about you as your friend.
Oh, now we know it's shtick.
As your friend, as your
Yeah.
pal, as your compadre.
Wow. When you say it in another language, it means even more.
Yeah, well, that's
Wow.
what I was going for.
Thank you. All right. So bringing it back to the ice and the stuff going on with the New York Islanders. Let's
Icelanders.
The Icelanders, sure, if you will. The Oliver Wahlstrom hype continues because of that goal against New Jersey on Tuesday.
It was
What
a
a
heck
rip.
of a shot.
It was a rip. And I said it on Twitter. I said, when was the last time this team had a weapon like that, a wrist shot like that in their arsenal? And I got some interesting responses. Some people said Ziggy Palffy. Sure. Somebody said Brock Nelson. Disagree. Got a good shot, but you can't rip him like that. They don't. I mean, they don't find the net that fast.
No,
not like Wahlstrom.
Brock's got
shot.
a good shot, but even
Yeah.
you look at the goal he scored today, it wasn't necessarily a hard or fast shot. It was, it was a precision shot, if anything
Right.
else, and that's kind of what Brock Nelson does. So I don't know if that comparison holds water.
I don't think it does. And then I got another response. Maybe it was Mike Bossy. And you know what? I mean, unless I'm forgetting somebody, I'm kind of inclined to think. I just feel like that's always been a weapon that I've been envious of other teams of. Like seeing somebody, like, God, I'm going back, but like Wendell Clark, he had a ridiculous wrist shot. Just guys that can just whip it off their stick, and in milliseconds, it's top corner back of the net. And I can't recall the last time the Isles had a guy like that. Not to say they haven't had guys with good shots, but with an elite wrist shot like Wahlstrom demonstrated on Tuesday. So it just adds to that excitement that I was talking about last week with regard to Oliver Wahlstrom. So he's still got me looking forward to seeing what else this guy can bring, because again, he's so young and he might be filling up a big role here on the third line, getting power play minutes. I love it, man.
No, it's very exciting, and as we talked about last week, the infusion of youth onto the Islanders roster, when you already have a guy like Matthew Barzal who's playing phenomenally this year on both sides of the puck, and then you have Noah Dobson, who's contributed immensely to the Islanders lineup, and then you add Oliver Wahlstrom, who is that shot that everyone's been clamoring for, right?
Yeah.
For years, you've heard the
Yeah.
Islanders need to go out and they need to get a score. Need to go out and they get a score.
And
They didn't even have to go out at this point. They had him sitting in their back pocket. And again, the credit to Barry Trotz and Lou Lamoriello for not rushing him and not listening to the chatter of people, myself included. I said it
Put
last
him
week.
in there.
Yeah, everyone was like, put him in there. Throw Kiefer Bellows in there.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, there's a reason why those two get paid the money that they do to make those decisions, because
That's plagiarism,
they're
Christian.
a much wiser. Yeah. Oh, did you say that last week?
I did, yeah.
That's because you're so wise and smart and
About
whatever.
time. Thank you. So keep going. I'm sorry to disrupt your train of thought.
No, it just really pained me to compliment you like that so much.
It's been happening a lot lately.
I'm trying to be a nicer person to you,
Growth. Yeah.
and
We get
and you're just not making it easy when you make comments like that. You know?
Man.
I just don't want to compliment you, but that's aside from the point.
Yeah.
Where
why don't
I
you
was
make
going with that
Yeah,
is
please
that you saw the benefit of them not being thrown in right away, being given that extra few games, being given that extra time to develop and get themselves in the right headspace and the right space where their game needs to be, and it's paid dividends for the Islanders. And you're seeing the confidence from Oliver Wahlstrom, and that's the biggest thing, right? Because sometimes people
he looks
that
very
don't
comfortable out there.
don't have the confidence, but they have the skill, don't go out there and shoot the puck. They
Christian,
try and
that's
move
half
the puck
game.
more. Yeah,
That's half the game.
and you're just seeing him throw the puck on the net now, and it's benefited them very well. Whether it's him finding the back of the net, or whether it's him creating that opportunity for the guys around him to come in there, clean up a rebound or make a play off of it or something like that. So it's been great to see that for the Islanders, because that's been such a big thing that they've been missing for the last couple of years. And you can't ask Matthew Barzal to do all of the scoring.
No, and it's great too, because JG Pajot finally knows who his line mates are. Right?
That's right.
I mean, how long did we go? And it was musical chairs up there, and now finally he knows that he's probably going to have MDC on the left and Ollie on the right, and they look good out there.
Yeah, and again, we talked about it before, but the renaissance that Michael Dowcole has kind of gone through recently is what you like to see. And
mini renaissance again. It's not like he's scoring every other game
No,
or anything.
no, but I think
he's become a serviceable player for sure.
I think
maybe
he's
more
been a
than
serviceable player for a while.
Sure.
I don't think he's been given the fair shake, and I know we've talked about it before, that's where he was drafted. That I think a lot of people tend to harp on. But
of course.
When you look at the way he's played, he's a responsible player in his own end. He knows how to create some opportunities. And when you saw him on the second line with Jordan Eberle, that was a phenomenal pairing, and it worked out very well.
That was his little coming out party this season.
But
since then, he's been
brought
noticeable.
something out in him. I don't know what it is, but it certainly brought something out that people didn't see before, and I think there are people recognizing it now. And now he's going back to that third line with Pajot and Walt Wallstrom, two guys that can create offensive opportunities, and he's making himself a part of it. So that's great for the Islanders, too, because he fits into that youthful renaissance that the Islanders, not youthful, but the youth infusion. I just like to use the word renaissance, apparently.
That's okay.
But the infusion of the younger players in there, because he's still below the age of 25 and still on the younger end of things. So it's another positive for the Islanders to see someone else on the younger side of where his career is, being able to step into an increased role and maybe a little bit of a different role than what he's been primarily used for in the last couple of years.
Sure, and now that we're talking about these supportive lines here, we might as well stick with that. Fourth line, buddy. Big week for them. Big week. Cal, Casey, and Matty Martin. Big week. And now maybe you look at the teams that they played, and maybe the Buffalo Sabres are had a hand in this. But you got Cal Clutterbuck, 2 goals and an assist through these 3 games against Buffalo. Casey Cizikas, a goal and 3 assists for 4 points in all 3 games. And Matty Martin, 2 goals, 2 assists. And how about that goal from behind the goal line, pal? I mean, Matt Martin banking it off the back of the goalie's head in the net. I mean, that was a piece of art.
Yeah, and the weird thing is he said after the game that he was kind of he was trying to do something with it. That was he intentionally threw it on the net. It wasn't as if he was like trying to move it around and it just kind of hit off one guy and bounced off another one and went. It was a very odd bounce, but
it looked like that's exactly what he was trying to do because he had the puck in the corner and he had time with it because he looked around. He had no options. So he was like, all right, well, I'll just wing it here. And he threw it right. I mean, it was pinpoint accuracy right off the back of the goalie's head. And I mean, it was gorgeous. It's something you would expect out of Matt Barzal.
But you know what? Even with that, like that was a goal that 10 times out of 10, you give me Alexander Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby, Matthew Barzal. They'll try that, and it still won't go in. That is as lucky a goal as you're going to get.
Some things had to go his way.
Yeah, you can call it precision, but I mean, in fairness to the way that played out, that was more of a.
Yeah, I was disappointed he didn't do it again today, honestly.
That's his thing.
His stock has gone down for me since.
He's really. I want him to stand behind the goal line and just shoot the puck on the net like that for games on end. I know, but it goes to what we were talking about earlier in the show, where that fourth line really early on the season, everyone remembers kind of that story that had been put out there that was this the end of the Islanders' fourth line. There was the tweet from the stats website that is escaping my brain at the moment.
That's okay.
And that called them said they were the third worst line in the entire National Hockey League. And I forget what the 2 lines ahead of them were, or behind them were, I guess, in this case.
Sure.
But it was almost around that time, too, because you saw, they had the break because of COVID with Buffalo and everything that was going on there.
Yeah.
And then slowly but surely you saw that line come back out, and they were rejuvenated a little bit. And now the last week or so, you've really seen them come back to that spot where they've been in the past, where they're going out and they're creating these offensive opportunities. They're physical in their own end. They're playing smart hockey with the puck, and it's leading to a lot of good things. I mean, that part of Clutterbuck's goal today was just a good opportunity, a good setup there, but also part of it was luck. I mean, I forget who the defender was, but if the guy doesn't fall and basically give Cal Clutterbuck his entire lane to go right down, but at the same time, Cal Clutterbuck has to be the one that makes the smart play in that instance, and that's what he does.
You know what they say, Christian? You earn your luck. You earn it out there. So that's what they do. They work their asses off that fourth line.
Yeah.
They grind these other players out in the corners, banging bodies in front of the net. And, most of those goals, aside from the gorgeous Matty Martin goal, are going to be those grinded out, maybe benefited from a little bit of luck, but they're getting the pucks to the net and they're working hard. And this is kind of the fruits of their labor. Now, let's see this against Boston Tuesday. Let's see this against, some tougher teams out there. But look, I guess the main focus of what we're talking about here is the fact that finally, and it started previously, but finally that secondary scoring, that scoring throughout the lineup is happening everywhere now. You're getting contributions from all the lines, maybe not all the individuals, but you're getting goals from every corner of the roster now, at least as far as the forwards go. So, and that's why you're seeing these not only victories against the Buffalo Sabres and whoever, but 5-2. I mean, they're putting up a lot of goals here.
Yeah.
Again, show me what you're going to do against Boston.
Right.
Show me what you're going to do against Washington and Philly. But the scoring's finally rounding out, and that's why you're seeing these more complete games from this team and why they're winning convincingly against teams like the Buffalo Sabres.
No, absolutely. I'm with you. You make your own luck in these situations. The Islanders have done that in these 3 games against Buffalo, against New Jersey. That's exactly what you need to do in this situation. As we said in the top of the program, the most important thing at this point in the season is just to get points and to make sure that you're setting yourself up to be in those positions where once you get to those games with the Bostons, the Philadelphias, the Pittsburghs, the Washingtons, you've already racked up as many points as you can going into those matchups, and that's what the Islanders have done.
Yeah, 100%. So speaking of the program here, we still got to do the Hero of the Week. We still got a shirt to give away. So what do you think? Hero time?
Hero time.
It's hero time. Yeah. Folks, here we go. I'm going to press some buttons here because that's how this goes. When you hear this song, that means it's very heroic. You get it? So that means it's time for the Hero of the Week, brought to you by the Blue Line Deli and Bagels. Hero of the Week, half price Hero of the Week, which is the poke check featuring roast beef, turkey, ham, Swiss, and American, lettuce and tomato, mayo on a Hero. Fantastic. Get it for half price all week starting tomorrow. That is Monday through Sunday, where we'll announce a brand new Hero. Stop in and mention Hockey Night in New York for half off the poke check. So, Christian, I think I actually remember that I went first last week. Is that accurate?
Sure.
All right, we'll go with that.
Sure.
So that means it's on you, pal.
Okay.
Hero of the Week, you're up.
My Hero of the Week is someone we were actually just talking about, part of the Islanders' fourth line, and that is, of course, Cal Clutterbuck.
You got that?
Cal.
There he is right there on the screen. Does that help?
Cal Clutterbuck.
You got it. Talk about it.
Had obviously a phenomenal couple games there with that fourth line.
Somebody said no ketchup?
Okay.
Great stuff from Mellermania 22. Sorry if I mispronounced that, but that was excellent. No ketchup?
You can
great.
absolutely
Love
add
that.
ketchup to your sandwich if that's,
they
if that's your cup of tea.
That's hilarious. So I'm sorry, Christian. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that really threw me for a loop. I might have to try this
Fantastic.
poke check with the ketchup, though. It could be an interesting option there. But obviously, Cal Clutterbuck having the scoring what essentially is one of the most important goals in the afternoon for the New York Islanders on Sunday to give them that cushion and kind of kill the momentum of the Buffalo Sabres that had been pushing there in the third period. He's also just had a couple good games. He's back-to-back goals today and yesterday. 3 points now in consecutive games. He had the assist. He had a goal, 2 goals. So he's playing great hockey, and that fourth line as a whole is creating opportunity after opportunity, and they're looking like the fourth line of old that Don Cherry very famously referred to as the best fourth line in hockey. The
best fourth line in hockey, otherwise known as the identity line. I know it's probably very small on your screen right now, but this is that brand new Oyster, and I totally tilted that the wrong way. I'm looking at the screen. It's going terribly. But there it is. The identity line, brand new Oyster Bay Brewing beer, right? And that involves the Yesman Outfitters, Kings Coast, and the Blue Line Deli and Bagels, all teaming up for a brand new beer, and it is delicious. So thanks to Oyster Bay for hooking us up with some of that. Stopped by there yesterday, picked some up, and it's fantastic. I believe you're hitting up some Blue Oyster Bay brew over there too.
This is brutal to listen
Is it?
to. Yeah, I'm drinking the offside, which is delicious. It's an American lager with lime, and that's what I have to say about that.
Wow, great plug, great stuff. So it's my turn now.
Well, you
and
didn't tell me we were doing this.
No, I guess I didn't.
I thought you were going to be. We were supposed to be much more subtle with how we were.
It just felt right because we were talking about the fourth line. So I'm actually sticking with that theme. Right here, Matt Martin. My hero. I actually don't need to repeat a lot of things you say. He was included in all that stuff. He had that phenomenal goal. But look, the whole fourth line, they've been playing great and got to give props. And look, we could just as easily have added Casey Cizikas to this as well. But
if we had a third co-host, they could have created the trifecta.
Right. Well, Matt Martin won out for me over Casey because of that goal off the,
Someone
off the
just
back
goes,
of somebody's head.
Give the hero to the fourth line. Just
You
give
could
it-
do that. You
we
could,
do
I
that.
suppose. Yeah, but we don't have the space in the picture. Sorry. It's got to be one guy.
Just pretend
Yeah.
like Casey
Sure.
Cizikas is in the middle, like he always is, with the picture. So it works, use your imagination, folks.
So, folks, there you have it. Your heroes of the week. Matt Martin, Cal Clutterbuck. We'll figure out who's going to be the winner tomorrow. But there you have it. And remember, go to Blue Line Deli, half price, the poke check. Until next weekend,
Yes.
mention Hockey Night in New York.
Yep.
Get a fantastic sandwich for half the price. And now we'll bring it back.
Or you could try the
the main
Hockey
screen.
Night in New York. The wrap.
You can
there.
always try the Hockey Night in New York. Yeah, it's named
Try that
after
as well.
us.
We had to eat
Yeah.
sandwiches. It
Yeah,
wasn't-
which you
wasn't
barely did.
Wasn't like certain people who were just given a sandwich.
Oh.
I don't want to mention names,
I don't mind earning my keep, man. It's fine.
but they
Okay.
were just given a sandwich.
Well, you know what? You
Didn't
got to earn
earn
your
it.
keep, man.
Uh,
Some people got to eat sandwiches. Some people just got to be who they are.
Apparently,
Yeah.
not
Don't be
bitter.
bitter, bro.
I'm not bitter.
You sound a little
It's
bitter.
frustrating.
Okay, that's kind of similar.
It's frustrating.
All right,
We
well,
have to eat
let's-
so many sandwiches.
Let's move on. So
I still have nightmares.
that doesn't surprise me. So, do you wanna cover a couple? We have a couple more things to cover. Do you want to do the shirt now? You want to do the shirt in a little bit? What do you think?
Let's do the shirt now.
You want to do the shirt now?
Let's do the shirt now.
All right, this is exciting. We got this awesome St. Patrick's Day shirt that we're going to be giving away to a lucky winner. I want to thank everybody for participating. A lot of people involved, and we're actually going to pick the winner live on the air here, assuming everything goes according to plan. So let's see if we can fire this up. Got everything prepared. Okay,
It will not go according
there-
to plan because this is
so
us.
far so good. I hit the button.
Okay.
And you got the screen right there. So here we go.
Oh boy.
Forgot to cue up some music for this, actually. You know,
All right. We'll go with it.
here we go. Why not? So I'm going to hit the little start button right here. And we're going to see who the winner is. So here we go. There it goes. There it goes. Okay. The winner is at LJO10K. You are the big winner of the St. Patrick's Day t-shirt giveaway. We'll hit you up after the show. We'll send you a little direct message on Twitter. Congratulations on the win. Once again, thank you to everybody for participating, joining in. And we'll be doing more giveaways throughout the season. So once again, thank you so much. And congratulations to LJO10K. You're the big winner.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Probably could have just faded that out instead of just stopping
Nah,
the music right away.
Nah, I want to get rid of it. Thanks, though. See, look, it all worked. It all went according to plan.
I'm shocked. I'm as shocked probably as the people who've been watching since day
We did
one.
it. Hey, man, this is we're getting better.
Yeah.
We're getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So before we wrap, did you want to talk about Ilya Sorokin at all?
Yeah, so obviously today was an interesting game for Ilya Sorokin. Maybe not as good as a start as we've seen from him as of late, but he got the job done. And I know there was some conversations about it afterwards about what Barry Trotz thought of his performance and what everyone thought of his performance. But at the end of the day, Alan,
Brian Larson thinks we should give away a hat too. It's in the plans, man. It's in the plans. We're gonna do it. I don't have the things queued. I can't do it now. Can't do it now, Brian. Sorry.
we'll save that for another time.
Yeah, but we love the idea. It's gonna happen, and that means you like the hat. So Brian, I'm glad you like the hat. Yeah, brand new Hockey Night in New York hat, retro reverse.
Yeah. So you brought that up. We were going to talk about that. Yeah. There's really, I mean, that's the Sorokin thing. People, this wasn't the best start that he's had this season, but he got the job done. He's looked phenomenal the last couple games that he's been in, and he's getting wins for the Islanders, and it's showing that the Islanders have two dependable goaltenders. The reverse retro jerseys are something that I really do want to talk about because those have been obviously something we talked about a lot. And we,
Sure.
In fairness, we did kind of give a negative review of it at the time, I think, when it came out because it wasn't as exciting or what people wasn't the fisherman. And I know a lot of people wanted the fisherman and or at least to have some acknowledgement of that era in the New York Islanders history. And obviously other people's did not. What we got was a jersey that looked kind of boring, I guess, during the release. And everyone was kind of like, oh, why has it got to be so boring? It's just these simple colors. But I will say, when you saw it on the players,
Full unis,
the full uniforms in person, I'm kind of a fan of them. I don't have any issue.
It's a good, clean design. It's not going to wow you. It's not exciting.
And they
but it looked good out there.
And they absolutely look. It looks more of an homage to the late '90s, early 2000 teams.
Than
it did to the Stanley Cup era teams, which I thought originally what it seemed like they were going for. The Islanders were going.
Funny enough, number 27 was still wearing the C
Yeah, Michael Pecker.
wearing that jersey.
The great Michael
Well, as I'm
Pecker.
saying, Anders Lee wearing the C now. You got the same
Yeah.
thing going on. You had Anders Lee out there. You had Brad Isbister out there.
That's right.
Trying to think. Trent Hunter, number 7.
Well, that was Trent Hunter post 2001, 2002. Because remember, he came in during the playoffs and he wore number 43, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, but he did wear 7 at one point
Yeah,
in those
later
jerseys.
on
He wore 7 in those
Right.
jerseys. And what else? I think Kevin Haller, wore 6. Ryan Pullock, right there. You can go up and
Adrian
down the
Aucoin.
list. Adrian Aucoin, he was my favorite player that era. Loved Aucoin. He was
Sean
fantastic.
Bates. Actually,
Bates.
it's funny because
Matt
you think
Martin,
about
yeah.
Sean Bates and Matt Martin kind of play somewhat of a similar game. Because Sean Bates was more of a, go out, throw the body around. He had a little,
He was a
little
more
offensive upside
yes,
to
100%.
it. Obviously remembered for that famous
He played in the second line. He played with Pekka and Parrish.
famed penalty shot.
The Lucky Sevens line.
Famed penalty shot in the playoffs. I was just going to keep going, but you have talking over it.
Oh, sorry. Keep going now.
No, I'm over it.
Oh.
That's fine.
Oh,
That's fine.
okay. Yeah, he scored the penalty shot. We remember that.
Yeah.
It was a very significant
that's
moment
fine.
in Islander history.
That's fine. you didn't want to acknowledge it.
I did. Wow. Very sensitive today, Christian. You got hurt feelings, man.
No, it's fine. It's whatever. It's whatever.
Okay. All right. So I guess we'll move on. I guess we'll move on from that. We're good. We're good in the reverse retro.
Yeah, I guess
We're
so.
okay?
I guess so.
Oh my God. All right. Sad Christian, everyone. Sorry about that. So we talked about that. We talked about Sorokin. Is there anything else you want to cover before we get out?
Obviously, another one of these series coming up next weekend too, by the way, against New Jersey.
The
3
look
games,
ahead, yes.
3 games in 4 nights against New Jersey.
Yes.
This time it'll be 1 at Nassau Coliseum, 2 on the road at Prudential Center. Should be an interesting matchup. Again, we've talked about it's kind of been the theme of the program, points that need to be taken. This is another instance where the Islanders have an opportunity to pick up points that should be taken. Obviously, Boston mixed in there in the middle of the week as well on Tuesday. And also the exciting thing is you'll have your first look at actual people in the stands on
Yeah, we're
Thursday
getting
night.
close. We're getting close.
You will have 1,000 Northwell Health frontline workers in
Love
attendance as guests of the New York Islanders. So it'll be the
Fantastic.
first
Fantastic.
real taste of fans in the building or people in the buildings. First time since the 1 year ago today was the last time that Islander fans watched a hockey game at the Nassau Coliseum. The New York Islanders losing in overtime 3-2 to the Carolina Hurricanes. And at the time, nobody knew what was to come, but
No.
that was, from a media perspective, that was one of the first times we really got a sense of what was coming. The Islanders had actually just closed their locker room, became the first team in the NHL to close their locker room, and not allowed the media in there. So we were doing interviews outside of this kind of 6 roped off area from the players and about 6 feet, I guess, apart from them or something to that effect. It was the first time that you really started to see that creep in. Obviously, or ironically, I guess, that when you look back at that time of when COVID was starting to creep into our lives, there is some moments that connect the Islanders to that. Governor Cuomo at the Nassau Coliseum to announce the New York Islanders returning to Nassau Coliseum full-time for their final year was the same day that I believe the state was granted the right to test for COVID patients at state laboratories, which originally had been run by the federal government. So all these little moments that kind of connect what's been going on over the last year to the New York Islanders. And obviously we'll get maybe our first sense of normalcy coming up here with first 1,000 Northwell Health frontline workers there in the building. And then the following week against the Philadelphia Flyers, you'll have the first set of fans in the building.
No, it's great, and hopefully as the vaccine continues to roll out, that number grows. The percentage goes up, and who knows, maybe by playoff time, you have a decent amount of people in the seats.
Yeah. You certainly hope so, and you certainly hope we continue the trend of moving back towards normalcy, and it'd be a great thing to see at least a bigger percentage of Nassau Coliseum filled, especially in its last year as the Islanders' home before moving to UBS Arena in Belmont, which is coming along very nicely.
Yeah, for sure. And, due to the fact that there's only so many people that can get in to the arena, get into the games, the lucky few, the lucky 1,300 or whatever it may be, wanted to take this opportunity to remind everybody that RJ Daniels is the place to watch the games in Rockville Center. They'll be hosting games all season long with drink specials, food specials, excuse me. $5 16-ounce
I think
Barn
that's
Rocker
the
ales.
identity line talking.
$14 blue, it might be. $14 blue light pitchers, $17 domestic bottles, $4 domestic bottles or pints, some food specials as well. So R.J. Daniels, 279A Sunrise Highway in Rockville Center from pregame until the final horn, or 11 p.m., whichever comes first. And the end of the game will come before 11 p.m.
Yes.
We're not going to see any 11 p.m. endings this season, but there you go. R.J. Daniels, folks. Check them out. Great staff, excellent food, excellent service, so good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, there's one more thing. One more thing I wanted to talk about before we wrap. Okay? Now, we talked a little bit about this whole, just playing in the division thing, all that. And as Dan Rosen actually kind of alluded to during our discussion with him, is that you're only going to see teams outside your division until after you get through your division in the playoffs, right? So I have a hockey dream that I want to share with you.
Okay.
Christian.
Go ahead.
I want to see the New York Islanders play the Toronto Maple Leafs in the Stanley Cup final.
Okay.
Because this is the only year this is going to happen. I mean, hopefully, right? We don't want to see anything like this down the road.
Right.
So this is the only chance. And I just feel like that would be a gold mine of story. I mean, look, obviously coming from a biased Islander standpoint, but you get the JT versus Barzell. You get the Toronto versus the Islanders. There's obviously a lot of recent fire between those two franchises. They're both at the top of their divisions right now. And it very well could play out that if they get through their divisions, and maybe you get Toronto seated as the number 1, you get somebody else seated as the number 4, Islanders 2-3.
Yeah.
Right? They both win their collective series. Islanders Maple Leaf Stanley Cup. I want to see it. I need it.
Okay. I will do nothing with that information. I hope for the best for you.
Isn't he great? Isn't he excellent?
No, I don't. You look at me.
That doesn't excite you at all? That doesn't sound like a good storyline to you? Nothing?
Yeah, I mean, from like a media perspective, yeah, sure, it's a great storyline. I mean,
literally, what a storyline in the chat.
I can read the chat.
That's good.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Okay.
No, I mean, yeah.
You're still upset about before and Sean Bates.
I'm not.
You're still upset about Sean Bates.
No, I'm not.
You're petty.
I'm not. I didn't even put the Toronto Maple Leafs connection there together either. No, but you know what? I'm over the JT. Like, we gotta hate JT because he left whatever the case may be storyline.
I'm going back.
I feel like I feel like I've moved on from that. I wish the rest of the world would move on from that.
I get it. But even look at the 2002 series between those two teams. Now, obviously, completely different cast of characters. But if you have a long memory as an Islander fan, and perhaps as a Maple Leafs fan, I mean, look, that was one of the most intense series that this team has been involved in modern history, in recent history.
No doubt about it.
And you add whatever came from that. Obviously, there's nothing there with the current Islander players or anything like that. But you add that for the fans. I'm talking about the fans here. You think about that. You think about the whole drama with JT and stuff like that. And some people are still maybe a little sore over it, even though a lot of time has passed. And obviously, they've proven they don't really need him. But you can just put all that stuff together, and for me, I would just love to see it. I think it would be fantastic.
It'd be an interesting series. There's no doubt there's plenty of storyline. No, I'm not denying that it would be a intense series. The Islanders and Maple Leafs, when they were allowed to play one another, have played competitive games.
Yeah.
Now, that being said,
Barzell gets fired up for each one.
They've never been, knock them down, throw them down brawls.
No,
I think that would.
honestly,
I think it would change a little. I would think that would change a little bit. I think there'd be some passion. I think the interesting thing is obviously a lot of this revolves around the fact that John Tavares left and went to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Right. I would be curious to know what really is the sentiment from the Islanders that were there and went through that. The Casey Zekas, Anders Lees, Josh Bailey's, the guys who basically lived that out for a year and a half, 2 years, and where their mindset really is. And in fairness, we'll never know until those guys retire, until everyone's retired, and then someone goes. We finally hear what was really going on as far as a player perspective, for the guys in that locker room. And I would love to hear that conversation, but I don't know if that's I want a good matchup. If the Islanders get to the Stanley Cup final or a playoff spot, I just want an entertaining game.
I'll take a good matchup.
I want an entertaining game, an entertaining series. And I'm sure that would be an interesting series.
If the Islanders get to the finals, I'm not going to be upset if they're not playing the Maple Leafs. I'll be happy that they're there, and then I'll root for them to win. But, I just imagine that fourth line we were talking about before. Imagine those guys lining up against what do you got?
Look at the chat.
What do we got here? I would be terrified of such a series. Seeing that not nice person win the cup would be the worst thing ever. Well, have a little confidence in your team and embrace the challenge. You know?
Revenge of the Ghost of Michael Pekka.
Oh my God, that's right. But look, I just look at all that stuff tied together. I look at Matt Martin, Casey Cizikas, Cal Clutterbuck lining up against Matthews and Tavares and stuff like that in a seven game grinded out series. I just think it would be extremely entertaining, a lot of fun to watch, particularly for this fan base. Maybe around the NHL nobody cares. Yourself, you're a little lukewarm on it. Fine, but I think
I'm just over this John Tavares hate.
That's not even the center point of where I'm coming from. It's just all the stuff tied together.
I know it's not the center point of where you're coming from, but
Okay,
I think for a percentage, I don't want to say a majority, a minority, a percentage of people who want to see this series, a lot of it has to do with their disdain for John Tavares.
Of course it's there, yeah. That makes sense. Okay.
And I just think it's at this point, like, the Islanders are winning. They're successful. You know, they're the best team in the East Division. They could arguably be one of the best teams in the NHL right now when they do end up playing other teams in other divisions. Also, I would like to point out the North Division. I forgot to ask Dan Rosen about this, but the North Division is terrible. Like, the Toronto Maple Leafs are in first place because they have crap teams playing with them.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at, Christian. You know, like, they're at the top of the league points-wise and all that. But look who they're playing. And now you can look, somebody's going to turn around and say, well, look what the Islanders are doing with the Sabres and the Devils.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But every division has teams that are bad. I feel like, and I will say
they're more bad in that division.
Exactly.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, you watch some of those games, the very limited options that we have down here in the States to see those games, but you watch some of those games and, you know, Dan pointed out Edmonton looked like they were going on a roll, and then they got killed 3 straight games or something like that. So I'm a little skeptical to jump on the bandwagon and be like, oh, wow, the Toronto Maple Leafs are for real and this and that, because it just seems like it's a little bit inflated. And again, I get you could make an argument against the Islanders for the same case, but, you know, that's just my opinion. So,
well, Christian,
take it for what it is.
I just wanted to share my dream with you, and you went out of your way to try to crush it, and that's fine. I'm gonna hold on to it, and hopefully the viewers and the listeners out there are with me. I saw at least one person is, so that's all I need. I got one.
I said, I hope it happens for you. I said,
thank you. I appreciate it. I do. I genuinely appreciate it. Now, can I cue the music? Are we good? You want? Hey, you know what we haven't done the last couple shows? If we have a minute or two, we haven't taken any questions from the viewers in a couple of shows. You wanna try to seek one out real quick?
Sure. I was just. Oh, you want me to look now?
Please.
Please. There's a lot of chatter. Pierre Turgeon wrist.
Pierre Turgeon wrist shot.
Yeah.
Good point, Michael.
But there is a lot. There is a lot of chatter about obviously the Tavares thing and the idea of playing the Maple Leafs.
There you go.
One of them is B. Lars 89.
That's Brian Larson, our pal from Miles Meetups.
Don't think it's so much about JT, but more about how Maple Leafs fans still come at Isles fans.
Throw that in the pot too. Whatever gets you going. I like
but
it.
Then you should probably have the same disdain for Penguins fans and Washington Capitals fans and Ranger fans. So.
It's different with Toronto.
It's both for me. Can't stand him or their fans. I mean, that's fair. I mean, when you think about the fan base, there's certainly fan bases and organizations that certainly have a very high opinion of themselves, whether they deserve it or not. No teams in the North have defense. That's true. They're terrible. I agree with you. It's like shinny. Chili pickles or sauerkraut on hot dogs without ketchup. Chili would be my answer, Trottier 19, because that sounds delicious.
Okay. Do you have a hockey-related question that you can find for us? Or
I was just going through the list.
Okay.
You don't want to answer the chili, pickles, or sauerkraut on the hot dog?
God, that's like kill, sleep with or marry or something like that. Like that's just none of those things really appeal to me
that was the PG-13.
Murder,
what was that? The middle school version of that game?
Whatever it is, I don't remember. But I'm not a chili guy, not a pickles guy, and I'm certainly not a sauerkraut guy. So I'm out. Okay. I'm out on that. Actually, you know what I do? I do ketchup and mustard together on a hot dog. I put them both on there.
There you go. We do have another question from BLR's89, Brian Larson. Why do our fans hate on Bailey even after wins?
How much time do we have?
Well, we talked about this a little bit last week.
We did.
And I said a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's similar to the Michael Dale Cole thing. Michael Dow Cole is almost like Josh Bailey 2.0 in the sense that people dislike him because of where he was drafted.
A few people like that. Before Brock Nelson got going, people were on him a little bit, kind of like they were with Bailey. Never to the degree of Bailey.
Even Michael Dow Cole was never to that extent.
Well, here's the problem. I'm sorry. Were you still going? I don't want to interrupt you again. Were you still talking?
I was getting into my groove.
Oh, sorry. So
answer,
go,
no,
please.
it's fine.
Please.
It's fine. What were you gonna say, Sean?
Do I remember? I was too busy busting your chops. Okay,
I was gonna stall for time. All right.
No, I'm good. Okay. I'm good. Here's the difference between Josh Bailey and maybe a guy like Brock Nelson, or even Michael Dow Cole, is that Bailey played on some awful teams. And he was expected to be part of the solution.
Right, that was the idea. He was drafted 9th overall. The Islanders moved around to get him.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that Islander fans have never... Some Islander fans. Right. Again, I don't want to say majority or minority, but there's a segment of the fan base that never let that go.
Right, but I am pretty sure that none of those fans now still think the Islanders should have picked Nikita Filatov. Because I'm pretty sure that was the guy that was hyped up. Yeah, that was the guy that was hyped up.
Nikita Filatov, I don't know, is somewhere buried in Siberia.
Nothing. Yeah, he's gone. He's a distant.
He was drafted by Columbus, if I'm not mistaken, or he ended up in Columbus or something like that.
One of those is correct.
He maybe played he had a cup of coffee in the NHL.
Nice job.
And then we never saw him.
That's exactly what he had. Stew, drink.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and your family.
Oh, God. Help him.
But yes, so Josh Bailey, he came in during a very different time in the Islander history, right? Mm-hmm. And that was when they were a struggling franchise. They were, very devoid of stars at the time. And, he was almost like... Well, nobody really got on Tim Connolly's case back in the day, but it was similar in the sense that he was a high draft pick. Mm-hmm. He came in his rookie year. He made the team, and he was supposed to be the next best thing. He obviously gets dealt away from Michael Pekka. But he comes into a no-win situation where he's a high, top 10 draft pick. He's supposed to be a great player. He at the time was picked over a guy who, basically the consensus, thought that he should have, they should have got this other guy. They don't. And he has a hard time finding his way. He's 18 years old. And, you want to talk about the development of this guy. His curve was a long, slow curve until he finally became that elite Josh Bailey that everybody likes to talk about now, right? The elite winger. That's kind of the joke now.
Yeah.
But... he was on some bad teams, and everybody just expected him to be a 40-point player right out of the gate. He wasn't. And look, most fan bases, if not all, are guilty of this. Everybody has their scapegoat. Everybody has their guy that they just like to lump on, whether it's based in logic or not. And I'm sorry, I'm calling some of you out there. Some of you guys, you get on somebody's case. Josh Bailey now. Nobody should be getting on Josh Bailey's case now. He struggled earlier on this year, but even still, he's proven himself over the last few years. He shouldn't be getting the hate that he gets now. He's established himself, clearly. But, it was Brian Strait for a while, right? Brian Strait
and then had that one good playoff series.
Islander fans. Right. But the point is, like Andy Hilbert, I remember everybody couldn't stand Andy Hilbert. Just another guy on the roster that couldn't score goals.
Right.
But again, it just goes that way where, especially with a team that's struggling or isn't performing the way they should be, you pick a scapegoat. You pick a guy that, you're just going to lean on. And Josh Bailey just had the unfortunate circumstance of being a top 10 guy that wasn't putting up the numbers that he was expected to do, especially because he was picked ahead of a guy that the Islanders were supposed to pick. That's why everybody's been on his case for so many years. Why people still are now, I don't know. Maybe it's just fun. I don't know. Or people just need somebody to get on. I don't know.
It is interesting. That is
for
sure.
But go ahead.
No, I think you hit on essentially everything I was going to say there. And, again, it's unfortunate. I think this year's criticism, what we talked about, I think it was last week's show, maybe 2 weeks ago. The criticism of Josh Bailey this year seems a little more genuine than in years past, which I think is like, it's a weird thing to say, but it's almost almost refreshing because for the longest time, it was just people didn't like Josh Bailey.
Yeah.
And they held him to this different standard because of where he was drafted and whether it was fair or not. So
I couldn't go to a game at the Coliseum or Barclays without hearing somebody yell, "Get off the ice, Bailey," without fail. Somebody was yelling it at least once.
Yeah, well, I still get some of those tweets, too, that he stinks, so they're not all gone yet.
There's just some guys people love to hate. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. But hopefully, Brian, that answers your question. I believe that was Brian's question.
It was Brian. Brian's the only one asking questions.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, there's some other questions out there. I see it. I see him out there. For sure. Do you want to see our team pick up some depth defense? Yeah.
Which was BLR's 89.
Yeah. Well, okay, I should try to pick somebody else, right? No, I saw a question from somebody else. Is Sorokin okay for playoffs if Varley gets hurt, or will Schneider play?
I don't. Well, first of all,
definitely Sorokin.
Yeah. Well, also, it's still. I don't think Schneider's back with the team after what was awful. A really tragic news that obviously came out after it was announced that he was taking some personal time away from the team. So obviously, our thoughts and our prayers are with Corey Schneider and his family for the loss of his 14-year-old nephew. Which was really tragic news to hear.
Yeah.
And a very unfortunate turn of events for him. Who I've heard nothing but great things from about Corey Schneider from Andrew Gross and others who have covered him in years past when he was with the Devils. So certainly a very unfortunate circumstance. But to answer your question about the playoffs, I would not imagine seeing Corey Schneider in the postseason, even if the Islanders were down a goaltender. I think it would be Ilya Sorokin because of the way you've seen him play, and he's earning the trust of Barry Trotz, and he's developing every game that he's in there. He's looking better and better. Tonight might not be the best case for saying he's looking better and better at each game, but he certainly has come a long way since that first sighting we had of him in the second game of the season.
He had one he should have stopped today, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But, it's going to happen every now and then. But, look, he is from game one to now, he's come a long way. He looks great. And, if it ever came to Varlamov getting hurt during the playoffs, I feel pretty good about Sorokin getting in there. But there is no doubt that Varlamov is starting every game in the playoffs, unless maybe there's a back-to-back and he's not good to go.
Yeah.
But this is Varley's net, no question about it. Maybe just Sorokin's earned himself a few more starts, gained a little more trust out of Barry because of how much he has improved over the last few games.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you there.
All right. So, folks, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight at twitch.tv/Hockey Night in New York. We want to thank you guys also for participating in the giveaway. Like I said, we're going to have plenty more of that to come. We're going to have this hat. Actually, the hat also and this shirt are going to be available soon for sale. We'll give you guys some more details on that. But a lot of good stuff going on here at Hockey Night in New York. I want to thank our sponsors, Blue Line Deli and Bagels, located at 719 West Jericho Turnpike in Huntington. Head on over for great food, great service, and great people. Check out the menu at BlueLineDeli.com for their great selections and hockey-themed heroes. And, of course, we want to thank Ty Technology, a voice-over IP company providing phone services to businesses around the country. Check them out at TyTechnology.com for all your telecom needs, or give them a call at 516-856-7800 and get 3 free months of service. And a huge thanks to Dan Rosen of NHL.com for joining us. Great stuff from him. And hey, listeners out there who haven't given Twitch a chance yet, give Twitch a chance. Have a lot of fun here. As you can see, we do the live chat. We get you guys participating. Great stuff. You get to see Christian's ugly mug. It's a lot of fun. You get to see him get sad and all that. If you enjoy the show, please rate, review, and subscribe at your favorite podcast providers. Tell your friends. Spread the word. Follow Christian at C_Arnold01 on Twitter. Follow myself at Seany Hockey. Follow the show at Hockey Night NY on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We're going to have a different time next week because there's another Sunday game that's going to get in the way. So stay tuned for that. Maybe Friday, maybe Monday. We'll figure it out. Folks, once again, big thanks for you guys hanging with us. For Christian Arnold, my name is Sean Cuthbert. We will see you next week. Oh, I got to press the button.
Come on, get it
Just
together.
to let everybody know that the stream's ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. Bye-bye.